Well, hello there, my name is LoveSpuds. Welcome to round 12 of my F1 2012 career mode, and we are at Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix. Here's a lap of the circuit.
Here we are, a lap of Spa into the final chicane. Make sure you take it nice and slow on the exit and straighten the car up. You want to focus on that traction. Don't let the car wheel spin as we head up to the start-finish line now. DRS and a short KERS boost towards turn 1. This is an overtaking possibility in the race, but you've got to watch out on braking. Easy to lock up here. On the exit, though, you're helped by the track falling away from you. That aids your traction. Now, as you plummet down the hill towards the infamous Eau Rouge corner, up through the gears 6 and into 7th. Here it comes. Hold your breath. Hang on in there. The steering wheel fights on you, but you've got to hold it flat as you can now open the DRS and use a bit of KERS boost as well to head you up this hill towards turn 5. An easy overtaking opportunity come race day. Brake just after the 100-meter board. Curb on the left-hand side. Feed the car in. Carry that minimum speed through the right, then the left, and then the right again. Now, eyes to the left-hand side of the track. You want to use all of that exit curb available at the highest point of the track now before going down the hill again in towards turn 8. The car always tries to understeer on you here in mid-corner, so be patient before getting on the throttle in a straight line and then squaring it up before turn 9. Use all of the curbs available on the inside and the exit before the run down the hill towards Pouhon. This double left-hand corner is a fantastic corner to take in a Formula 1 car. You feel the G-force on your neck and your back muscles as you exit the corner now. Eyes to the left-hand side. The marker boards help you at the 100 board. Brake and slow it down into 3rd gear and focus on your minimum speed through the right and then the left corner. Now bring the car over to the left-hand side again. Straight line braking into 2nd gear. Use all of the curb available on the exit before turn 15. This is a really vital corner to get right and carry that momentum onto this really long winding straight. Now up through the gears. 6th, 7th. Hold it flat out for the corner coming up. This is Blanchemont. 7th gear, full throttle. Fingertip stuff through this corner. You don't want to scrub off any speed. If you've got a chance to overtake, do it now. Down into the 100-meter board, into 2nd gear. First, if you've got an unstable rear end on the car, which is so often the case here. Straighten the car up again on the exit. Full throttle, DRS, KERS, and that's an end of the lap in Spa.
So here we go, Spa in the wet. Got my wet tyres on and it's pouring with rain. This is after the patch now. All my races are after the first patch that was put on the console. I don't know how many more patches are to come or when the next patch is being released. I don't know any about that, but from now on this is after the patch. The weather has improved, but this is Spa and it is pretty normal for it to rain, so there's no real change there. But for the race it's not going to rain. Actually it is, thinking about it. It does rain. But it's typical changeable weather. It's not like, you know, constantly raining throughout and gone a bit stupid. But it's all good. So there's my first sector time of 33 seconds, 33.4. The reason this lap is any good, if you can just see those arrows there, meaning the cars behind me, the only reason this lap is half decent, or well, I'm not coming in 10th, is because I'm holding up Massa, who is actually behind me at the moment. And as wide as I'm going, this actually does happen to be my best lap. The other laps after this I didn't quite get round as smooth, and actually went off a couple of times. And this being Q3, you only get about 10 minutes to do your laps for the top 10. So I sort of ran out of time after that. So hey ho. I quite liked the fact that I was only like a second or two off the pace anyway of the where I should be. But it's okay. It doesn't matter. I do like the new professional level. It suits me. Shame it doesn't suit too many other people. But I like it. Raikkonen sets the benchmark and Vettel's taken that down to 2:09. Let's see what we can do around this final chicane. Can be a bit tricky to brake after that high speed section, but definitely not going to be on pole. Webber's on pole now. I've set a time of a 1 minute 3 sec. Not 1 minute, 2 minute 3 seconds. But yeah, Pastor Maldonado takes the 8th place, which was my objective, so that's not too bad, but still, never mind. Let's get down to the race. As you can see, it's sort of starting to rain now. We're all starting on prime tyres. Well, not prime tyres, I mean option tyres, because this is the medium. The primes are the silver wall tyres. So I braked a bit early here going into the chicane, but I took a shallower line into the corner, and that has caused me to get a good run out that corner and be up alongside Hamilton just before we go through Eau Rouge. Hamilton backs out, comes up behind me, coming up into the back. Grosjean sort of bashed him a little bit there, but Grosjean's having a go at Raikkonen side by side down here. Let's see if we can make it 3 abreast. It's not going to happen because they're in the way. But it looks like Grosjean's got past Raikkonen pretty easily there into this corner, and I'm going around the outside as well onto the inside of this corner. Bit of a touch there with the wheels, but not too bad. It was clean enough not to get a silly penalty, and no one went off, so it's all good. So after those first couple of corners are up in 5th, we need to try and catch Grosjean. Well, we'll see how it goes. Lotus should be fast around here, but in the real world race it was sort of lacking straight line speed, I think, if I remember rightly. But after all, this is a game and it's slightly different to real life. I kind of do really well on this track compared to last year. Last year I was at I really wasn't good at all. I was like holding everyone up like I usually did. But this year I've really got a good flow of the circuit. I'm taking the corners a lot better than I did last year. I wouldn't claim to be the #1 driver around here, but I am certainly quite good. I did put a very good time up for the RaceNet challenge that was here. I got a gold medal in that. It was the first and only gold medal I'll probably get. So yeah, quite pleased with that. I'm glad I could drive this really well. It's at least one circuit I can do well. But obviously, as you can see, it's raining, so that's going to mix things up a bit as we start lap 2 of 11. Not many laps in this race, but that's due to the fact that it's a very long track. It's probably the longest, if not, well, it's long, and if not the longest, should I say, on the calendar for the whole year. Some tracks are pretty long. Bahrain's pretty long, but this is something else. Actually, Bahrain was longer in 2010 when it was had that extra middle section. It doesn't have it this year. But back to this race, we're holding on quite nicely. We've got a gap of 1.1 seconds to Hamilton, who's overtaken Raikkonen. Raikkonen not having the best start to a race he's ever had. But I'm keeping in touch with Grosjean. Seems to me like they're not pulling away too quickly just yet. Let's see if I can hang on to the back of them. I mean, the rain's going to come down. I've got to make sure I come in around about the same time as the AI. Bit of a slide there. That would have cost me a little bit of time, but not too much. Rode the curbs a bit too much, which compromised my braking or and steering into the corner around Pouon. So coming back around to this fast section here, I don't think much happens here apart from Hamilton may have a go. He's within half a second. We're not near the DRS zone, so we don't need to worry too much, but it could be in our slipstream.
It's starting to rain. It's just light at the moment, but if it worsens, we'll need to switch to inters or wet.
Engineer pointing out the obvious. I don't know why it takes him so long to confirm that it's raining. So a little bit of effect on my tyres there as I sort of lock up into those final corners. Hamilton's trying to have a look. He might think of making a move into the first corner, but I think he's a bit too far off for that. And I brake a lot later and a bit too late as well for that one. Locking up my tyres again. So the track's starting to get a bit slippery in places. But it's still drivable. You can still go pretty fast. Some sectors get wetter than others quicker. So that's not bad. I think Grosjean's going to make a move, and look like Hamilton's going to make a move on me. I'm using up my curves just to defend my position, and it was just enough because he hasn't managed to make a move, but I have overshot the corner pretty severely. Cut the corner, but just slow enough to not get a warning, and still come out ahead of Hamilton as well. So it worked out okay. The car does tend to oversteer a lot in that corner. Oversteer, I mean understeer, like Anthony Davidson said in the track guide there. But it's a very interesting corner. If you get it right, you can pull off some pretty good overtaking moves there. So I'm feeling good about this. This isn't bad. As I say, this is post-patch, so this is my first race with the new AI professional difficulty level, and I'm quite pleased about it as I spin. Well, not spin. I slide, drift, whatever you want to call it, because the track is getting wetter now. I've got to think of going over to intermediates pretty soon. Strangely enough, in this race, I actually make the decision at the same time as the AI. I didn't think about what the AI were doing for the first time in quite a while. I actually come into the pits, change my tyres when I felt like it, and that actually just happened to be at the right time. So as you can see, they're all pulling into the pits now. I'm going in as well, which I decided to go in as well because of this couple of slides I had in Sector 3. Don't want to lose too much time in that sector because that is a fast sector. You don't want to lose too much time at all. Twisty sections aren't so bad because you're going at a slower speed, but when you're losing time in the fast sectors, you can lose a hell of a lot of time. I think we're slightly held up there a bit, but still not a bad stop at 4.3 seconds. Buttons come out in front of us. I think we had a pretty good pit stop, but McLaren managed to get out ahead of us because Button was probably ahead at the time. But we're going to come up on the backside of Button, go through Eau Rouge there. Seem to have a little bit more downforce than him maybe, but obviously he can counter that with a lot more straight line speed because he's in a better car as well. See if I can make a move on the inside here. Ooh, sliding in front of him there. I didn't actually make any contact, but it was too much, and now I've slid just a bit too far and let him past again. Should be a nice, interesting fight if I can keep up with him, and to keep up with a McLaren as well. No mean feat, as Button actually won the 2012 Belgium Grand Prix anyway, with a car that was working absolutely perfectly for him. But this time he's in third, not running away with it. I wonder who is up in front. I expect it's probably for Vettel or Webber. I think the Red Bulls actually might be in front at this moment in time. Either that or they went in the pits. I don't know. We'll have to see later on. But we're doing quite well. We're in fourth. Rosberg is behind us, 1.1 seconds away. We're sort of in the middle between Button and Rosberg, so we're not too much under threat at the moment. See if I can catch up to Button here. Not outbrake him, but brake a lot later than him into these final chicane. That's helped my cause a little bit because now the gap is 0.6 of a second. Hopefully I can get DRS or even make a move into this corner. No, not quite. I'm a bit tentative about outbraking on that corner because you can lose a lot of time, especially if you lock up as well. So coming right up behind him now at Eau Rouge. I have to lift off a little bit on Eau Rouge just because it's a little bit damp and a little bit slippery. I did lose a little bit of time there as well to Button, so we're going to have to try and close up on him on these braking zones as well, because he's managed to get the gap back up to 1.2 seconds. But yeah, we'll keep going. We're lap 5 of 11, come up to about halfway, up to the halfway point. Rain doesn't seem to be getting much harder, so might be able to switch back to the dries if possible in a bit. But this is more like it. This is more like the weather you would see in Spa, so you can't really tell much if the patch has had much effect, because my first race happens to be in a place that's really changeable for weather, so you know, I couldn't really make much judgment on this. But things seem a little bit better to drive, but it can still be a bit dodgy in the wet. I'm not keeping up with people, but never mind. Well, shit happens basically. But 2 seconds now, gapped about, and he's pulling away slightly. This might be a good opportunity to talk about the Brazilian Grand Prix this weekend. It's finally here. Practice 1 is today. My F1 video should be going up today. I'm going into the pits now. I think it's probably time for some options, maybe, or primes. I don't know what I go for. It's probably options. Yeah, that'd be the sensible thing to do. So yeah, the Brazilian Grand Prix is finally here. Practice 1 today, practice 2 today as well this afternoon, but it's a bit later because obviously the time difference being in South America. So we come out the pits in the same position we went in.
The track is clear. Track is clear.
No real changes there. So yeah, as I say, it's finally here. This is the weekend where we will see our 2012 champion. Will it be Alonso? Will it be Vettel? And also the main news concerning that sort of what do you mean that sort of race? Now the interesting thing is let's have a look. Yeah, Sunday there is forecast rain in the race. Saturday was actually meant to be stormy, but now it's just mostly cloudy. But it still could rain, you never know. But if it's raining on the race on Sunday, that really does give Alonso a chance, because that way they can close up the gap a bit better than if it was in the dry. I mean, if it does pour down with rain, then Alonso really does actually have a shot at the title. But if Vettel manages to get on the podium, he can be first, second, third. He can be on the podium. If he's on any of those positions, the championship is over and it's Vettel's. If Vettel finishes 4th or lower and Alonso wins, then it's Alonso's championship. Should be hopefully exciting. Hopefully they neither of them will get booted off the circuit by any other car. So I'd love to see a really good race between those two. Yeah, anything's possible in Formula 1. It really is. I'd say Vettel's probably got it in the bag, but you never know. Things can change. But I would assume Vettel's going to win anyway. Well, win the championship. Might not necessarily come first, but still. Webber won the race last year. I don't know if that's because Red Bull let him win the race or whatever, but Vettel finished second, so maybe there's a chance for Alonso. But hey ho, let's see what happens. This video is coming up today, which is Friday, the first practice sessions. The next few days I'll probably be putting up Assassin's Creed 3, and then I'll be back with another F1 on Monday, hopefully. Mostly because then I can put my thoughts about the race in the video as well, and I have something to talk about. The next round is Italy and Monza. There's not much happening in terms of corners, so it's just going to be a lot of straight line speed, hopefully a lot of overtaking. I know what happens obviously because I've already raced at Monza, and it goes a bit tits up. Just leave it at that. It's full of ups and downs. Pretty more interested than the average race where nothing happens. I mean, races like this one, they're okay. It's pretty good that I can actually hold on to the pace and not get a train of cars behind me. I mean, that's nice. That's sort of less pressurised and less stressful. But at the same time, I want there to be a lot of overtake, and I want to fight for positions. It makes it a more interesting video as well. But yeah, it's a strange one, Monza, that was. Definitely. But you'll have to wait till Monday to see that. Vettel sets the fastest lap of 1:55, so yeah, as you can see, he's also out in front as well. I assume Webber is in second. Yeah, as he sets the fastest lap, he must be just behind him somewhere. He's got some clean air in front of him as well, so he can set these fastest laps. He's not in his gearbox. Alonso's a bit further down the field, but he has set an even faster lap of 154.7, and I am slowly closing the gap to Button. I've turned the fuel mixture up to rich, so that's obviously helped a little bit as well. I don't think Button's turned his fuel mix up yet. I don't know if I heard that message or not. I might have missed that because I was looking at the Formula 1 website at the time. Also, some regulation changes for next year. The FIA, as I have a bit of a moment there, the FIA want to stop the use of DRS in all the sessions. I mean, yeah, they use it in practice and qualifying. They are allowed to use it all the way around the lap in any part of the circuit. But they want to reduce that now. They want to have it in the designated zones like it is in the race. Which suits me down to the ground because it's kind of annoying trying to think of it, to press the button every time you're on a little bit of a straight. So on one hand I'm pleased about that. Well, actually I'm totally pleased about that because that's annoying, that DRS trying to activate it every time. I mean, it does take a bit of skill to juggle that and KERS and getting around a lap as quickly as possible. But they're doing that for safety reasons. I mean, for example, on this circuit as well, you cannot use DRS in Eau Rouge. It's automatically disabled because of how, you know, you can put your foot down through Eau Rouge. You don't have to lift or anything in qualifying. So they've done that on safety grounds, so people don't end up spinning off and crashing heavily into the barriers. Because this isn't a modern track, the barriers are quite close to the circuit, and if you make a mistake, then that's it. You're into the barriers. It's not like the modern tracks like Abu Dhabi, where there's a ton of runoff area in places. And obviously the drivers love it more because, you know, they like the fact that you need precision. I mean, you've got some of the drivers that will use the runoff area to extremes, and, you know, almost too much in my view. Taking liberties, going off too far, using the runoff for a bit of extra speed. No, I don't think that's right, to be honest. I think they should just stay within the confines of the track and do it properly. Places like Spa, that's I do like it. Do like it here. Monaco is just annoying for me, but I do love the skill and precision it takes to get around there. It's amazing how fast you can go around, and it's like threading a needle at 100 miles an hour. No wonder people love the circuit. But we've got about 2 laps left after this lap. Not making much of an impression so far. We're sort of trying to move up on Button here. I think he may have turned his fuel mixture up to rich as well, which is why we're not closing too much of a gap. But I'm really going for it now. Setting the fastest lap, I think. 153.9. Let's see if that comes up. So we go around the source. Really, really close. Yes, we have set the fastest lap. Coming up behind Button at Eau Rouge in his slipstream. Trying to keep out of his slipstream a little bit because you do lose downforce. And I am close enough to activate the DRS. Let's see if we can make a move into this corner. Looks like this is going to be it. Into slipstream, but we've hit the rev limiter. Oh, we're going to go around the outside. Oh, and Button has hit me. Sent me into the barriers, but he's gone off as well. And yes, he definitely did hit me because I felt him on the controller. I felt it rip the steering away from me. So Button's a little bit of trouble. Good job I didn't get the penalty for that because I would not have been happy. Some would say I turned in a bit too much, but as you'll see by the results, Button was at fault there. And now Rosberg's trying to have a go. He's caught me up. He's right behind me. Just need to hold on. See if I can get that podium finish, 3rd place behind Grosjean. Grosjean having a very good race today. Up from wherever he was up to 2nd. I think Vettel's still out in front. So does that mean Webber's retired? No, I can only see. I don't know who's out in the lead at the moment. but we're not going to catch Grosjean. He's 8.2 seconds ahead. Unless he has a problem with his car, I don't think we're going to be any higher than third. But we still got to watch out for Rosberg though. He's right behind us. He's probably in our DRS zone, so we've got to be careful of that. See if we can make up some ground on this chicane and the source, and Eau Rouge as well. Plenty of ground to maybe create a gap. It's 9/10 of a second just inside the DRS zone. If we do this right, not bad through that corner there as well. Hitting the apex quite nicely, I think. Gonna speed right through Eau Rouge. Try and hold the throttle down, which I did. The only reason you lose a bit of speed there is because of the fact that you're going uphill and your steering, you scrub off a little bit of that speed, but you keep your foot planted to the floor, especially when your fuel is this coming to the end of the race and your fuel is lower. It's more coming up to qualifying speeds now. Obviously I've done just enough to keep outside Rosberg's DRS range. This is the last lap, so we should be okay. If we just hold it on for these last couple of sectors, we should be okay for the podium finish. Not quite a win yet, but we are getting there. We are moving up the grid nicely. We've met our objective quite comfortably of 7th. We didn't meet our qualifying objective, but we have met our race objective, it seems. Just keeping it on the road now. I know I can't catch Grosjean, so I'm just concentrating on getting this thing round the corner into the finish line. So yeah, a gap of 1.2 seconds to Rosberg. I was actually closing in on Grosjean. Made about a second up when we were around here last, I think. And yes, Sebastian Vettel has won the race. Don't know what happened to Webber, maybe he's a DNF. Grosjean's come in second, and I'm just coming round at the final chicane now to take that final podium slot of third position. And Vettel sets the fastest lap in as well. Couldn't resist, could he? Vettel does love his fastest laps, that's for sure. But there we go, finished 7th or above, passed, we're in third. Pastor Maldonado managed to come home in 8th, no change for him. Nico Rosberg 4th, Mark Webber actually dropped to 5th, I don't know what happened to him. Felipe Massa, Schumacher, Maldonado, Alonso finished down in 9th, that won't help his championship, but somewhere down there is Hamilton as well, who was the leader of the championship, I think. There you go, Jenson Button actually finished in 16th, and he got a 20-second time penalty for taking me out on that chicane. All those sequence of corners. So there's proof the AI do get penalties in single player, that's for sure. Lewis Hamilton did not finish the race. Something happened to him, I don't know what. Didn't see it. Didn't hear anything. And the usual suspects at the back. So yeah, there you go, nice third place for us. We were pretty much faster than Grosjean, so if we had the time we could have maybe caught up to him. But I'm happy with that. Good number of points. 6th in the Drivers' Championship with 75 points, just ahead of Kobayashi's on 70 and ahead of Rosberg on 65. Lewis Hamilton is still leading the championship because Alonso didn't get a very good result in that race. The gap is only 7 points though. Sebastian Vettel is 62 points behind, so it's going to be a bit of a struggle for him to even have a chance and retain his title. Something odd about this patch as well, Bruno Senna has appeared at the bottom of the list. Obviously he's not racing, but he's on the Drivers' Championship standings, which is kind of weird, but still, there you go, Bruno Senna at the bottom there. So yeah, let's move on to Constructors in a second, when I do it now, come on, I gotta do it now, soon, something like that. Oh, Mark Webber's not having a very good season. Definitely. So, yeah, McLaren Mercedes at the top, 94 points ahead of Scuderia Ferrari. Williams in 5th position, sort of, yeah, quite a comfortable gap to Mercedes there, not too bad. See if we can beat them this season. We're sort of chasing down Lotus a little bit, but still they're about 30 points ahead, 31 points ahead. Nothing too special there. Well, okay then, I'm going to go off and celebrate. Drink a little bit of champagne, I suppose, on the podium. And all that remains me to say is join me next time for round 13 at Monza in Italy. I'll see you then.